Hi, I'm Previous Gaboon, or Jude. I haven't made a video in a while. This is going to be the first one where I don't just use clips. This is a game, free on itch.io, that I will link in the description, called I Broke My NDA. Listen. Let's get some. So this is made in the Range engine, which is a build of the canceled Unity game engine, I believe. So this isn't Source, but so far it's done a decent job at recreating it. Doesn't quite have that Source feel, but I mean, it's really hard to recreate the Source feel.
Hi there, I'm Dan.
Hi.
This might seem like a strange thing to post on itch.io, and it probably goes against a few NDAs I signed years ago. But some of the levels and features I worked on during my internship were honestly the best work I ever did. It was around 2001, and I was still hopeful. I believe this could be my way into the industry. Recently, I decided to dig through some old backups and compile what I could into a playable form, just to share it with the community. I'll try not to say where I interned or which game this was part of, but I'm pretty sure you'll figure it out right away. Thanks for downloading, by the way.
Yeah, it's Half-Life probably.
This was the first level I ever built in this engine. My task was to explore lighting workflows and figure out how we could take advantage of newer GPUs at the time. The idea for the scene was simple. The protagonist.
Oh. Oops.
This was the first level I ever built in this engine. This was the first level I ever built in this engine. My task was to explore lighting workflows and figure out how we could take advantage of newer GPUs at the time. The idea for the scene was simple. The protagonist boards a train and sees a decaying city in the distance. It was meant to establish tone, give the player a quiet moment to feel the world before the story really began. The lighting in this section is different from what made it into the main game. I used a basic path tracer to simulate light balances and more complex indirect lighting. It wasn't real time, but it let me pre-compute high-quality irradiance. The leads shot it down immediately. Said 32-bit light maps were excessive and wouldn't scale with memory budgets. Thing is, there was no performance hit. Press the F key if you want to see the 32-bit light map.
Doesn't look terrible if we're correct in assuming this is Half-Life.
I tried prototyping a foliage shader with real translucency. Back then, most of our foliage used static light maps and slightly emissive textures to fake lighting. I wanted to make something that reacted to dynamic lights, headlamps, muzzle flashes, whatever. It didn't make it into the final game, but I kept working on it even after my contract ended. Some things stick with you.
I mean, yeah, you think you come up with a cool idea, you need to keep it, wouldn't you? So clearly there's supposed to be some, splashy bits here. Splashy bits.
This is where I started to give up. I knew this level wouldn't make it in, not because it was broken, just because it didn't fit the plan. I stopped polishing and just let it sit.
That actually got me a little bit. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, like, coming out of there, it looks decent, but yeah, you can tell that clearly
I wanted to move beyond Vertex. I wanted to move beyond vertex lighting and start using pixel shaders, especially for localized lighting interactions. This little cabin was my test case. Step inside and watch how the light responds in real time. It felt like magic to me back then.
That is pretty cool, actually. I mean, granted, it's not high quality, but like, if we're basing this off of it being, you know, Half-Life 2, then that would have been impressive at the time.
I can't show the original character due to NDA stuff, and also the fallout I had with the studio. But this was meant to demonstrate a dynamic, goal driven AI system instead of being completely scripted. The NPC would evaluate conditions and choose how to act. It had goals, simple ones, but enough to feel reactive. For example, in dark environments, it would prefer to follow the player from behind, not to attack, just to unnerve you. It would also retry goals if they failed. That part I was proud of. The lead said it was pointless, said playtesters didn't find it fun. That was the last feature I worked on.
It's unfortunate. I mean, that does sound cool, right? Like, you know, there's a guy who follows you around instead of, you know, like actually fighting you. You know, he, like, if he fails at something, he'll try again. I mean, that's what players do. So, fighting it. So, I can understand why people wouldn't find it fun, but I think it's cool. This is actually really good reflections. Like, granted, it is in a completely different game engine, and I believe that's just a cube map instead of, you know.
At the time, artists had to manually fine tune materials just to make assets blend into the environment. Everything was baked, nothing was consistent. My goal was to create a more unified material system, something flexible enough to work with baked lighting, but still grounded in physical behavior. Back then, physically based rendering was still just a concept paper floating around online. This was my first attempt at bringing it into the engine.
I mean, you did decent. That's good to me.
That's the end of this showcase. Walk through this tunnel and I'll load up the next missing level.
Okay, so, like, an abandoned...
So, this was one of the few levels I actually managed to finish. It was meant to take place after a massive battle on the beach. The player would escape inland through this old, half-buried mining facility. But right after I submitted it, the story changed, just like that. No one really said anything about my work, no notes, no feedback. I think this was the moment I realized maybe no one was watching at all. This part right here, this was my holy moment. I wanted players to step out of the claustrophobic barn and into this stunning, open view. A reward, visually, a sense of hope. Technically, it was...
Okay, we'll just cut that out. So we're in like a destroyed church or something?
So, this was one of the few levels I actually managed to finish.
Oh.
It was meant to take place after a massive battle on the beach. The player would escape inland through this old, half-buried mining facility. But right after I submitted it, the story changed, just like that. No one really said anything about my work, no notes, no feedback. I think this was the moment I realized maybe no one was watching at all.
That's gotta suck, right? That's a fucking... Seeing the lighthouse as you come out of, like, this church or whatever, that's a powerful set piece, I guess.
This part right here, this was my holy moment. I wanted players to step out of the claustrophobic barn and into the stunning, open view. A reward, visually, a sense of hope. Technically, it was also my big pitch, my path trace light baking system in action. I really thought it would convince the team that we could go beyond an old light map trick. But no one ever mentioned it afterward. It was like I never sent the build.
Terrible, man.
This was my take on GPU-driven vertex displacement. A really lightweight method to animate grass and foliage without using bones or expensive simulations. It almost made it into the game. But one of the level designers said it was too distracting for the player. And that stuck with me. Not because I disagreed, but because I think that was the last time anyone seriously considered one of my features.
That's stupid. Why would it? That's fucking cool, you know? Too distracting for this thing. I guess I just don't understand. Because, like, maybe, right? But, like, you know, you're walking through, you see the grass waving, you're like, whoa, that's cool, right?
I was also in charge of water shaders during that phase. This system had support for planar reflections, refractions, even basic ripple response. I fully expected it to get shot down like the rest of my work, but surprisingly, 2 people came by and talked to me about it that day. Just 2. I remember that clearly because it made me happy. This prototype came before the water demo. I was trying to make a kind of marble or glass, this effect using a per-object probe for refraction. It wasn't screen space, it actually captured the environment around the object. Costly, yeah, but you could stack reflections to get something that almost looked ray-traced. One person commented on it. They said I should focus on something more useful.
Fucking sucks. I mean, like this is cool. I mean, if I'm right about it being Half-Life 2, which I'm pretty sure it is, this is cool. This is cool technology. I mean, like, yeah, it doesn't look great, but like, you know, you touch it up and you optimize it for modern GPUs, and you can fucking. This is dope technology.
This is where I got fired. This section wasn't in the original design doc. I just started building it one night. I don't know if I was trying to help or prove something, but I wasn't listening to anyone. They didn't fire me because I was late or lazy. They fired me because I wasn't on the same page. I didn't ask what they needed. I just made things. They had meetings, goals, milestones, and I ignored it all. Looking back, I wasn't really working on their game. I was building my own version of it. And that's not what they needed.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. What the fuck?
I made this at home, still pretending to be a developer.
If I had knowledge, I knew how to code, I would have to learn all this. I guess what I'm saying is don't lie to yourself. You are a developer. Not for them anyway, but I guess that's okay. I mean, you clearly have incredible talent. Just not the kind needed, I guess. I mean, if you're able to put this game together in a playable state, then I think you are a developer. Lord knows that this isn't just something anybody can do.
Hi there. I'm a friend of Dan's. He'd been talking about making this game for years, but he never got around to finishing it. I figured it was time people saw his work. A lot of the original files are missing, and some of it's probably not how he would have wanted it, but this is the best I could do with what was left. Hopefully, Dan's okay with that, and maybe it'll give him some peace.
That was good. Very short. Oh. Yeah, okay, so I think that was a good game. I mean, like 18 minutes feels inspired by the beginner's guide, I think, in a way. But good, you know? I enjoyed it. I think it's cool. Very well, like, it is, it's very technically impressive, I think. And it reminded me of the beginner's guide, which is also a very good game, and you should totally check it out, but it's cool. It's good. I don't know if it was directly inspired by beginner's guide, but yeah, impressive technical demonstration, had a cool little story in it, recreated the source feel pretty well. Cool game.